Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. This time we're tackling something you'll be seeing constantly as nurses, energy balance.
Oh, yeah, it's a big one.
We're breaking down a chapter from a pretty popular nursing textbook on this.
Right, getting into how it works in practice, for patient care. Really important stuff.
So we all know the basics. I think calories in versus calories out. But how does that actually play out, with our patients?
Well, you can think of it like a bank account, right?
Okay.
The body is the bank account and calories are the currency.
I like that.
So if someone's taking in more calories than they're using...
They're depositing more than they're spending.
Exactly. You're going to have a surplus. And usually that ends up as weight gain.
That makes sense. So that's what we call positive energy balance.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
And then the opposite is true too, obviously. If they're burning more than they're taking in...
Like spending more than you're earning.
Exactly. They're going to be in a negative energy balance, which usually leads to weight loss.
And this is where that 3,500 calorie thing comes in.
You know it. To gain or lose a pound of fat.
I know one.
Which can be good to remind patients about because even small changes can add up. Like switching out a soda for water can make a difference over time.
If you think about it, yeah.
100 calories a day, that's 10 pounds in a year.
Wow. So it's not always about some crazy diet overhaul.
Nope. Consistency is key.
But, okay, so how do we even figure out how many calories someone needs? It feels like there are so many individual factors.
Oh, there are tons. You're right. There's no one right answer. But we do have tools that can help us estimate. One that's really common is the Mifflin-St Jeor equation.
Oh, yeah, I remember that name. Didn't it have something to do with basal metabolic rate?
Yes. It helps us estimate basal energy expenditure, or BEE, which is basically the minimum your body needs just to function, like even at rest.
Okay, so like breathing, heart beating, all that.
All that, even when you're asleep.
So it's like the baseline before you even add in any activity.
Exactly. And it uses your age, gender, weight, and height to calculate that.
Gotcha. But even with a fancy equation, it can't be perfect, right? Like, what about muscle mass? Doesn't that make a difference in how many calories you burn?
You're getting at a really important point. These equations are a good starting point, but they don't take everything into account, like body composition.
So two people could be the same height and weight, but one's a marathon runner and the other is, well, not.
And their calorie needs could be way different.
Exactly.
Makes sense. So we can't just rely on the number from the equation.
Right. We always have to think about the individual person.
Okay, so then when we're assessing a patient's weight, BMI comes up all the time. But I feel like there's a lot of debate about how useful it really is.
Yeah, BMI definitely has its limitations.
Like, it doesn't really tell you the difference between muscle and fat, right?
Right. Someone could be super fit and muscular, but still have a BMI that says they're overweight.
Which doesn't really make sense. And it doesn't tell you where the weight is either, right? Like,
yeah.
On their body. That's another big one. We have to think about body fat distribution, too. Like apple versus pear shapes.
Oh, right. That's where that saying comes from.
Yeah, people who carry more weight around their middle, the apple shape, are at higher risk for certain conditions, even if their BMI isn't super high.
What kind of conditions?
We're talking type 2 diabetes, heart disease.
Yeah.
Even some cancers. It can be serious.
Okay, so then how do we actually assess that? Like, is it just looking at them?
Haha, no. There are better ways. We can measure waist circumference.
Okay. And is there like a magic number we're looking for?
Generally, for men, over 40 inches is a concern, and for women, over 35 inches. But that can vary a bit depending on height.
Oh, that's true. So a tall person might naturally have a bigger waist.
Exactly, which is why the waist to height ratio is becoming more common.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
You just divide the waist measurement by their height.
So you want a lower number, right? Meaning their waist is proportionally smaller.
You got it. There's an easy rule. Keep your waist to less than half your height.
I like that.
So 0.5 or less is generally considered healthy.
Okay, so as a future nurse, I'm hearing we got to look beyond just BMI.
Absolutely. Body composition, where they carry their weight, the whole picture.
It's about the individual person.
Always.
This is super helpful for getting those basics down.
Glad to hear it. And in the next part, we'll get into how to actually use this knowledge, to help our patients make positive changes.
All right, so we've got the basics of energy balance down.
Yeah.
But what about when you have a patient who's like doing everything right?
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
They're eating healthy, watching portions, exercising.
But the scale's not moving.
Yeah. It's got to be frustrating for them.
Super frustrating. And it shows just how complex this all is. It's not just calories in, calories out,
Right. There's more to it. So what are some things that might be messing things up? even if they think they're doing everything right.
Well, sometimes people underestimate how many calories they're actually eating.
Oh, yeah, that's easy to do.
Yeah. It's easy. Little snacks here and there, the oil you cook with. Even healthy food adds up if you have too much.
So portion sizes can be sneaky.
Totally. Like a serving of nuts is way smaller than most people think.
Oh, it is. I've definitely made that mistake.
And then there's metabolism. Some people just naturally burn calories faster than others.
Like some people have a faster metabolism.
Yep. It's just how their bodies work. And as we get older, everyone's metabolism tends to slow down a bit, too.
That's fun. So age matters, too.
It does. And hormones can have a big impact, too, like for women going through menopause.
Right. That can make things harder. So it's not as simple as just eat less, move more.
Nope. There's a lot going on. We need to look at the whole person,
Right.
you know, their lifestyle, their medical history, all of that.
Okay, so speaking of the whole person, let's talk about the mental side of things.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Stress, emotions, even some medications can change how people eat. So how do we bring that up with patients in a sensitive way?
It starts with really listening to them. Ask open-ended questions about their relationship with food, any struggles they have, what they typically eat.
So don't just jump in with advice.
Right. Understand their experience first and listen without judgment. That can help us see patterns or triggers that might be leading to unhealthy habits.
What are some common triggers we should be aware of?
Stress is a big one. A lot of people turn to food for comfort when they're stressed out.
Makes sense. It's like a way to cope.
It is. It can be a way to deal with tough emotions, even if it's just temporary.
So it's not always about being physically hungry.
Exactly. It can be more emotional. Boredom, loneliness, even certain social situations can be triggers too. Like if food is always the focus.
So it's like food can be a coping mechanism sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why we need to help people build a healthier relationship with food. Not just focus on what they eat, but why they eat.
So how do we talk about that in a way that feels helpful? Not like we're judging them.
That's so important. We're nurses, not therapists, right? But we can listen, validate their feelings, and help them see the connection between their emotions and their eating habits.
And if they need more help, we can refer them to someone else, right?
Absolutely. A dietitian or a therapist who specializes in eating disorders or emotional eating.
Good point. And in the meantime, we can encourage healthy ways to manage stress, too.
Yes. Exercise, mindfulness, spending time in nature, all that good stuff.
Things that help them feel more in control. Okay, so we talked a lot about challenges and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's not forget about the positives.
Oh, for sure. Helping people find that energy balance can make a huge difference in their lives.
It's about more than just the number on the scale, right?
So much more. When they start feeling better, having more energy, sleeping better, it's really motivating.
And it's not just about them either.
Nope. Their families benefit too, their whole community. It's like a ripple effect.
That's awesome. Okay, well, this has been super helpful. We've learned about the science, the psychology, all that good stuff.
It's all connected.
But I want to leave everyone with something to think about before we move on to the last part. How can we take all this and apply it to our own lives?
Oh, that's a good one.
Not just our patients.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can't exactly tell them to do something that we're not doing ourselves.
Right. It's got to start with us, leading by example.
Exactly. So that's something to think about. Taking care of ourselves so we can take care of our patients.
Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, so that wraps up this part of our deep dive.
Next time, we'll put all this knowledge into practice.
We'll look at some case studies, some real-world scenarios you might see as a nurse.
So stay tuned. It's going to get even more interesting. All right, we're back, ready to put all this energy balance knowledge into practice.
Let's do it. Case studies time.
Love it. Hit me with the first one.
Okay, so let's say we have a patient. We'll call her Kyla. She's 25 years old, came in because she's gained some weight and wants to make some changes, live healthier. She's 5'5", weighs 150 pounds, and her waist is 31 inches.
Okay, so first things first, BMI, right?
Yeah.
Got to see where she falls on the scale.
You got it. Her BMI is 25.2, which puts her in the overweight category.
And her waist circumference is still within the healthy range, though, right, for women?
It is. But remember, BMI is just one piece of the puzzle. We want to know more about her body composition, how active she is, all that.
So we're not going to just tell her to lose weight based on that number.
No way. That wouldn't be helpful at all. We need to personalize it, Ask her about her diet, her relationship with food, how much she exercises, what she wants to achieve.
What if she says she's tried dieting before, but always ends up feeling hungry and deprived?
That's so common. And it's why those strict diets don't usually work long term. Instead of cutting out whole food groups or drastically reducing calories,
Yeah.
let's talk about making gradual changes, Healthier swaps, portion control, things like that.
So like instead of saying no more soda, it's more like maybe try sparkling water with some juice instead sometimes.
Exactly. Little changes make a big difference over time. And for meals, we can talk about the My Plate method, half the plate, fruits and veggies, a quarter lean protein, a quarter whole grains.
Oh yeah, I love that visual. It's easy to understand.
And for portion control, smaller plates, pre-portioning snacks, just being more mindful when you're eating can help.
So it's not about strict rules. It's more like building good habits they can stick with.
Exactly. It should feel doable and enjoyable, not like a punishment.
Okay, so then what about exercise? How do we get someone moving more, especially if they haven't been very active?
Find something they like. Maybe it's dancing, swimming, hiking, a sport, anything. The more they enjoy it, the more they'll want to do it.
And it doesn't have to be like intense workouts every day, right?
Yeah, not at all. Even little bits of activity add up. Taking the stairs, walking instead of driving, getting up to move around every hour if you have a desk job.
So many good ideas. It's really cool how much we can do as nurses to help people, not just give them information, but really support them in making those changes.
It's super rewarding, right?
It is, to help people feel empowered to take charge of their health.
And when they start seeing those results, better energy, sleeping, better feeling good about themselves, it's amazing.
Okay, well, this has been such an awesome deep dive. I feel like I learned so much. It's not just about calories in, calories out. It's about the whole person.
100%. And it's something you'll use throughout your whole career.
So, and to everyone listening out there, keep learning, keep asking questions, and remember, you got this. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.